What's up, vinyl community? Cliff, the vinyl cheapskate here, coming at you with a Friday drinking music. Didn't really have a topic this week that I was thinking about. No research. This is kind of like an off-the-cuff, pulled 10 records that I like, that are kind of rock and rolly punk records that I wanted to talk about, because I love them all, and they're great records. And I think that people should check them out if they haven't. Some of these are classics, some of these are really classic records. So some from the 80s, even one from the 60s, and I think that's a popular one. I won't need to talk much about it, but I'll pull it out later. And a bunch that I think deserve more attention, really. There's a bunch in here that I think deserve more attention, and a couple new ones that I think, if you haven't checked them out, you definitely should. I think that a lot of people have talked about a couple of these records that I pulled out, so some of that explanation should be a little longer than others, but whatever. So hang out, chill with me, let's talk some music, man. Drinking a Chesapeake Wheat Tangerine Wheat Ale, one of my many sale beers that I usually drink in these videos. It's all about the sale beers. So let's get started with what we're listening to right now. Anxiety. Listen to Criminal Damage, Call of Death. Criminal Damage, great mix of like UK 82 punk anthems and a little bit of Oi in there. Really well played, catchy tunes. Yeah, this is just excellent. This band blew my mind when I heard them for the first time. These guys are an offshoot of the band Tragedy. They did, I think I've showed these guys on here before, but I love this record. Call of Death, what a great record, man. And these records are going up in price now, so if you can find these, I would grab them while you can, because I think this one might be the easiest one to find. They have 3 LPs out. 3 LPs out. All 3 of them are good, so if you can get any of them, I would. But yeah, this got Paul Burdett right there. No, it's not. But yeah, Paul Burdett's one of the Burdett brothers from Tragedy. But excellent record on Feral Ward Records. Really cool, fun stuff. Great anthems. This song, Anxiety, is sick. Anxiety. I'll put some needle drops on some other stuff too when I get to it, but yeah. Great record. Criminal Damage. If you like what you hear, try and find this. It's well worth it. Next up, this is one that I think is, we're moving into Stone Cold, a couple Stone Cold classics here. But another one, rock and roll, punk, probably the first really punk band ever, I think. We're talking about the Stooges, Funhouse, and what's there to say about this album? It's classic. This is a Sundays reissue that I got here, but still happy to have this one in the collection. Bought this a while back off Discogs, and it was at a good price. So, sick stuff. You know, Iggy and the Stooges, blah, 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 blah. We all know the Stooges. But another one, great. This is going to get spun later tonight, and I can't wait. Alright, moving along from the Stooges. Another band that I think deserved to have gotten way bigger than they did. They're pretty big. People know them. They were a huge influence on Nirvana. And that's how most people, that's actually how I discovered them. Because I was a Nirvana nerd when I was younger. And I discovered the Wipers through Nirvana. And this is my favorite Wipers Over the Edge. got Doomtown, Romeo, Over the Edge. It's got so many great songs. This is a hands down perfect album right off the bat. But Wipers, Over the Edge, just super classic, a little post-punky at times, some garage psyche stuff going on in there too a little bit, but really good, no doubt about it, punk rock stuff here. Like I said, you can hear where they influenced Nirvana in here, and it's all the good parts of a Nirvana album come from the Wipers, I think. Like their weird guitar parts and a lot of the punkier end of things. Not that Nirvana was really a punk band at all, but you know what I mean. But yeah, this is actually a boot. I'm 95% sure it's a boot from the early 2000s, but this is great. It's got the Brain Eater labels, so they even booted the labels. And I bought this from my roommate's distro way back in the day when I was living with him, but look how floppy this sleeve is. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's not a boot. Maybe the sleeves really were this floppy. But what makes me think it's a boot are these here, this numbered. It's, what's it? 18 out of 136. So that makes me think it's a boot. Because I'm pretty sure the Wipers pressed more than 136 of their albums. But yeah, Wipers, sick stuff. This is a band I could listen to all day, the Wipers. Next up, I got a couple new albums that I think are going to move into being classics, and I'll brush over these pretty quick because these have been talked about on a lot of channels, but I've never talked about them on my channel. But I'm going to put up the first Chubby and the Gang, which I think is the best stuff they've put out so far. This record just smokes all the way through. Catchy songs, really good like driving guitar parts, great drumming, just everything falls together on this perfectly. And it's still got that like kind of oi edge. They haven't really lost that yet in this. They kind of lose it a little in the second album and some of the EPs that they just put out. But this is a stone cold classic, killer album. Check out Chubby and the Gang if you haven't, which I'm pretty sure most of the people watching my channel probably have. But this is a great record. And another one, and I'm super bummed that I didn't get to see these guys live. Was supposed to fly to San Francisco and see my friend, but it kind of fell through. And we were going to see the Chisel on that trip. He went. He sent me videos and stuff, the jerk. But the Chisel, Retaliation, what a great first album. This band has done no wrong. All their EPs are great. They did a great job on this album. I just hope they keep up the pace and keep ripping as hard as they have, and I hope they come back to the US when I get a chance to see them, because this is probably one of my favorite records that's come out in a long time. It's definitely one of my tops for 2022 already, and it hasn't moved, and I've listened to it a ton. So, great record, man. What a great record this is. And I'm sure, I think I've showed both of these. I've shown this on the channel before, so I won't get too far into it, but yeah. I can't cry enough accolades to the Chisel. Super Blitzed influenced, super good, oi, punk rock, rock and roll, great stuff. Now, I'll get to a lesser known band. Now I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna needle drop this and I'll be right back, and then we'll talk about what it is.
Drinking cough syrup for a kick, smoking marijuana for a thrill, shooting heroin into the veins to live it up.
Listen to that riff. How do you not like that riff? This is the Maneaters. This is a band I feel like, this is also a newer band. So, leading in from all the newer bands to another new band, this band just put out a new album this year, which I haven't listened to it enough, but I don't think it's as good as this one. as far as I've gathered. This thing is a stone cold smoker. Hardcore punk guys playing like sleazy rock and roll riffs, but still keeping it punk. How can you go wrong, man? This is a bunch of the guys from Kulu, and it's Kulu and Tarantula. This is the more rock and roll-y kind of punk rock stuff that they were doing, that they have been doing. Just super sick. And look at this artwork, man. It's fucking killer artwork. Just so out there and off the wall, man. Look at this guy. And then the back is just as cool. Keeping like punky vocals going. And here's a picture of the guys. And I'm pretty sure they staged how they're dressing here, but pretty ridiculous. Look at that. Oh yeah. Yeah, I love this record. It's got all those like little wanky guitar riffs going through the whole thing. Just keeping it rocking, but it never stops and like dwells on it too long. Just like real quick punch to the face. Yeah, great stuff. Check out the Maneaters when you get a chance. Well, you're checking them out now if you can hear it. But yeah, pick this album up if you can get it, or just listen to it online or whatever. This is great, great stuff. Their other bands, Kulu and Tarantula, are also awesome. So check them out if you get a chance. Let's go with another. Let's go with another classic. And there's another one where I don't think you need to talk about it too much, because I think everybody knows that the Dead Boys' Young, Loud, and Snotty is a fucking stellar, perfect punk record. And this also, like, come on, man, Sonic Reducer, All This and More, What Love Is, Not Anymore, Ain't Nothing. Jeez, all these songs, every single one of them is just a burner all the way through. Perfect record. Stiv Bators killing it in there. Cheetah Chrome. Perfect record. Like I said, I'm not going to talk a lot about this, but everybody knows that Dead Boys, Young, Loud, and Snotty, perfect rock and roll, punk rock record. There should be a million of these pressed every time it goes out pressing, because everyone should have one. This is a repress on Sire. It's a newer repress, but it's on Sire. It's got the Sire label on it. So, but yeah, it's not an OG though. It's definitely newer. It's real thick vinyl. So I know it's not an OG. They weren't pressing them thick vinyls, and they weren't pressing those thick vinyls in '77. Let's move it up to some hardcore that is pretty rocking. Move up to the Skip Kids. Skip Kids, kind of motor charged, Swedish punk, hardcore, really rocking, party freaking hardcore stuff. Really great. I'll put this on. I'm gonna put a needle drop on here. This record, my friend actually released this record on Room 101 Records. A friend of mine from Philly. But it's gatefold. Skip Kids are a little underknown for the Swedish hardcore bands, I think. They get overshadowed by, you know, the big players like Dysphere or Wolf Brigade, all them. But this is kind of in that same vein a little bit. But like I said, it's a little more rock and roll, a little more party music in here. Really good, fun stuff. But yeah, let's slap this bad boy on for a little bit, and then we'll talk about the next couple. And I'll leave you out with the last one I have here. So, let's go. Get kids. Definitely some motor charged riffage going on here. Screamy vocals. Definitely great. This is an excellent record. I saw these guys in 2003? 2003, I think? They fucking ruled. One of the best shows I've ever been to. Just killed it, man. So much fun to watch live. Alright. More perfect rockin', guitar wankin', punk rockin' hardcore. And you know you can't get through one of my videos without me throwing on at least something that has to do with some Japanese hardcore. Death Side. This is another classic. From the 90s. I think it came out in 96. I think this came out originally in 96. Look at me. My brain doesn't remember dates that well. Sorry, guys. Call me out. Let me know what year it came out if you know, and I completely butchered it. But this has a lot more like rockin', like heavy metal guitar leads in it, but still keeping like a kind of like Motorheady rock and roll feel through a lot of this. A lot of people, this is known as like a Burning Spirits hardcore, which just basically means it's just really fast driving hardcore with like heavy metal guitar leads. That's really all that means. But this is the Gatefold. This was the re-release that came out a few years back, and I was ecstatic that my record shop. This happened during the pandemic. I picked this up. My record shop was not letting people in, but they were doing Instagram drops. Not my record shop, but the record shop I go to all the time. We celebrated summer. They were doing record drops, and they popped this and the other one, and the what was the other thing that popped up on there that I picked up with this? The I think it was the Protocol LP. All three of them popped up at the same time, and I was like, I'm buying all of those from you, sir. It will be there in a few hours. And went there, picked them up, grabbed the records, and now they're in my collection. Great band. This is a great band, and if you haven't heard Death Side, it is strongly recommended that you check out Death Side. If you enjoy like let's see, what kind of bands can I compare these guys to? That if you like the faster end of like, I would say a little bit of Black Flag, faster end of like Poison Idea type stuff. If you enjoy that kind of stuff, you'll probably like this. But they're a very unique band in the guitar riffing and all that stuff. So check these guys out. And if you like heavy metal, you'll probably like, this is a good like crossover type of thing with heavy metal and thrash and stuff like that. You'll probably like Death Side. Check these guys out. One of my favorites. This is one of my favorite records of all time. I love this one. Dead on Possibility. And the other one, what the hell? Why can't I remember? Wasted Years or Wasted something. Yeah, whatever. My brain's not working correctly. Sorry. Last but not least, I'm ending with probably one of my top hardcore punk rock records of all time. Annihilation Time. This is their album 2. It's their second album. And this is the album where I think they nailed this album. They really, really came out strong with this one. Their first album was really, really good, but it was a lot less on like the the rock and rolly side of things, and a lot more on like a Black Flaggy kind of noisy hardcore stuff in there, more so than the really good kick-ass like Thin Lizzy worship with mixed with Black Flag kind of thing they were doing here. This thing shreds hard. There's a little bit of like a doomy song in here in Imaginary Mirrors, and dude, the song Dog Ends, come on, man. Really, there's not a bad song on this. This is something that every time it comes on, I just stop and I go, God damn, it's fucking good. But yeah, check this band out, Annihilation Time. They're from California. I think that, yeah, they get labeled as a nardcore band, but really, really good. And they only put out 3 albums and a handful of EPs. I've got everything by this band because anytime they put something out, it's just, I loved them so much, I had to get it. It's just so good. And this one's on blue vinyl. This is the blue vinyl version. And like I said, I'll leave it out on this one. I won't leave the whole record on, but we'll... I love that they do the B-hole. Do that one quick. Maybe it won't get noticed. But yeah. Pretty sweet. This guy wants your cigarettes. Anyway, that's the Friday Drink of Music. Yeah, I didn't get enough stuff for Valentine's, so that'll have to be another week. And I hope you enjoyed. Have a good weekend, everybody. Cheers. Catch that Grown Man Record Night tonight.